when you drive in is you see these cement factories and the steel factory, and you think, wow, there's big industry out here.
Once you get off the highway and you get into the town of Midlothian, it really is a very compelling community in the businesses, the families that live there, the schools, and how it's set up to be a full and rich community. And that's what we wanted to articulate and bring into the fold for the sculpture that we were making. And when we toured Gerdau and looked at how the business was run and how they use every piece of anything that comes in there to recycle, with the cars, the metal, the scrap metal, and how even the equipment they're using, that they fix it, or if it can't be fixed again, then they'll melt down the piece of equipment and remake it. So it truly is closed loop production. And this looped imagery kept coming back to us because it was such a contradiction to what you think when you're on the highway looking over at a factory afar, when you're there touring and seeing that this is really a green. This is very cool that they're using everything. And we knew that looped imagery had to be in the sculpture someplace. During the process, we had a lot of meetings in Midlothian with Larry, Tammy, Jennifer, to get to know what was going on in the community, what was possible. We went in front of City Council with the concept of combination, and we met with the high school students, and Brad worked with the engineering students, showed them the bending of the steel and shared the calculations and the construction drawings of the piece. And then I worked, because creative writing is such an important part of my process, I worked with the journalism students, and we wrote about what the sculpture can mean to the community, and they did some really neat things, and it was a real pleasure to get to know the students and the young people in Midlothian in this process.
Once we found out, worked through the project and the process and found out where we could put a sculpture, what our suggestion would be, it had the convention center and the elderly recreation center, and then the hotel was being built a little bit higher up in elevation. And so we felt it was important to have a scale of, we thought initially about 25 feet, which is about the height of the convention center, but we decided to go a little bit taller and get it up around 30, 31 feet, just because it just needed it. If you get too big or too small in a space, it really has the wrong impact.
We knew we wanted to do a sculpture that was primarily steel and concrete, and how did we want to do that? And we wanted something that showed the interconnectedness of the community, how the community works together.
The building and the fabrication of the sculpture is never quite so easy, and there's never a real clear path. It takes a lot of development in here, and a lot of, usually when we come up with these designs, Christy and I, my mind starts going through the whole process, and I can see a path. I may not always know the company or companies I'm going to work with, but I know there's a path, and I just have to keep walking down it until I find the right people and the right artisans and team workers to help with it. And then created the 80 tickers that go around it, and where the number 18 ticker is and the number 88 ticker is, those equal the year 1888, which was the year that the city was officially founded. So we used a big triangle for the 18 and the 88, and it's cast out of concrete. The personal touch we added to it was creating a Joe.
He represents the people in Midlothian. He's a nod to the hard work that happens there, that everything that's made there has a human touch to it.
Yeah, and we didn't want to make it where there was a life-size guy there, so we used a 24-inch tall Joe. But we did do a really oversized wrench, although we modeled it after a early 1900s wrench that you just don't see around anymore. And cast it all in bronze, and he's on a little base at the bottom, tightening the last bolt on the install.
Through the lighting and the ribbon cutting, that's the moment when we get to turn the sculpture over to the city, introduce it to the community. That's such a special moment for us when we allow the story to start becoming very specific to the people there, and it's their story.